everybody, my name is Kathy and thank you so much for watching my channel, Crafty Kathy. So I am super excited to be bringing you some Kirkland's Christmas DIYs today. I have been waiting on this moment for it seems like forever. I love to be in the Christmas spirit all year round, but it's really tough to get in the Christmas spirit when it's still 80 degrees here in Tennessee and we're still swimming. But hey, Kirkland's always gets me in the Christmas spirit. How about you? And also, I am collabing today with Emily from Farm Charm Chuc. I'm super excited about that, and I'm going to talk about Emily just a little bit later on in the video. But for right now, let me grab my executive producer. Let's sing our silly little theme song and let's jump into these DIYs. I found my executive producer waiting out back. Guys, if you've never been to my channel, we have a motto, and it's on our channel. We have love, we have laughs, and we have DIYs. So, let's sing our silly little theme song that he makes me sing every week, and let's jump into these DIYs. On our channel, we got love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. We got the love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo, baby. Yeah. All right, guys, let's jump on in.
It's cold outside, but the fire keeps us warm. We can spend the night underneath the mistletoe, and I've gotten you a present that
DIY number 1, we are going to do this Kirkland's Merry Little Christmas sign. I started off with an 11 by 17 canvas frame, and I'm going to take the staples out and the canvas off of the front. So I simply flipped it over and I cut on the outside of the staples with my X-Acto knife, and then I'm going to pull that canvas right off. I went out to the garage and I grabbed a couple of these cedar slats that we had out in our wood pile. They're about the size and thickness of a ruler, which is exactly what I needed. I cut them down to 15 inches, and all I'm going to do is lay these out. I want that lighter, prettier side on the bottom. That's the part you're going to see. And I just used my hot glue gun to glue each one of these down. Super easy. Talk about rustic. These things came off of the back of an old bench and they were really rough, but hey, they make for some gorgeous wood, y'all. I take my white home decor chalk paint in the color white Adirondack, and I'm just going to give this one really good full coat. I made sure to get every nook and cranny, inside, outside, upside, downside. You know the drill. Then I went over to my Cricut and I pulled off the stencil. I'm going to use the Oracle Blue Vinyl Stencil 651, and I made these little trees on the bottom. It was the closest I could find, but I actually like the way it turned out better. And then I did the stencil part that says Merry Little Christmas. I used the font called Another Typewriter because it matched the font perfectly from the picture that I saw off Kirkland's. I just pulled it out and weeded everything. Guys, this was the very first time that I've ever used the stencil vinyl. I've always just made the vinyl and used it, but I found it was very easy to make your own stencils, and so I see this in my future a lot. So I just laid my stuff down the way that I wanted it. I kind of centered the trees down on the bottom, and then the Merry Little Christmas goes up to the upper left-hand side, just like it did in the Kirkland's picture. I used my Waverly Crimson chalk paint, and I gave it one good full over coat. And I was very careful to paint away from the stencils. You don't want to push that paint up under the stencil. You kind of go away from that stencil. I always really fast forward over these parts, just like painting or whatnot, because everybody knows how to do that. But I figured that I would show you this little part because it's how I did the stencil. So you just paint over the top of it, but you're very careful not to push that paint underneath.
Yeah, spend my time running around, keeping people pleased.
Here comes the best part where you pull that stencil up and it just makes the most beautiful, crisp picture. Look how white and gorgeous and crisp that is.
Of everything but you. These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be?
Last Christmas, I had bought a pack of wreaths off of Amazon. They came in a pack of 12. It's these little grapevine wreaths. Aren't they cute? Now, the green that's around it is just one of those little green pieces that comes from the Dollar Tree. There's like 12 of them in the package, and I just wrapped it around there to make it look like a little wreath. And then I'm just simply going to take a couple little pieces of berries from a little pick that I have, and I just kind of pull about 3 berries off at a time and just glue them down.
Wrapping presents for you. I've been hanging more.
And I have a little wooden reindeer piece that I got from a package from Walmart. There's 4 different ornaments in the package, and there's like a total of 20. And I'm just going to paint him. He did have a little hole where, you know, you can hang him up as an ornament. And I just filled that in. And I used the antique Waverly wax and put some on and then just wiped it off with a baby wipe. I'm just going to glue him right down on the side of that wreath because I felt like it needed a little something. Then I'm just going to glue that wreath right to the side. It didn't have it in the picture at Kirkland's, but I thought it just seemed kind of plain not to have that. Now I'm just going to take my Arteza chalk paint markers and I just use that to go around that wreath. It's white, and so I'm just putting like fake snow on it. And any little spots in my picture where it needed like a touch-up of white, because there are 1 or 2 tiny little spots where that red paint kind of bled, and all I'm going to do is touch that up, and I'm going to go around my little reindeer and highlight him with that white marker because it makes him stand out. And that's all, guys. I actually like my version better than the Kirkland's version, and that little hole that is over the 3rd Christmas tree is just a hole in the wood. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit that little red button, and there's a bell that will appear beside it, and when you click that bell, a drop-down menu will appear, and if you hit the word all, YouTube will let you know every video that I upload, and I would be tickled pink to have you in my family. And guys, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Now let me tell you about my good friend Miss Emily from Farm Charm Chuc. Emily does a little bit of everything. She's very well known for her rustic farmhouse vibe, and I really love her DIYs and some of the things that she does. And guys, I know that y'all will fall in love with Miss Emily and Farm Charm Chuc. And do me a favor, after you go and watch my video, please go over and watch her and let her know that Crafty Kathy sent you. Let's go into DIY number 2, which is a pine and snowy berry picture arrangement. I started out with this picture that I had purchased from Goodwill, and it's brown, so we're going to give it a good coat of this sheepskin by Home Decor, which is kind of like an ivory color. It's an off-white. After I gave it one good coat, I was like, why am I sitting here painting this? I should have just took it outside and gave it a good spray paint. So that's exactly what I did after the first coat, because it was going to take a couple of coats to cover up that dark brown color. So I took it outside and I used my Rust-Oleum ×2 Ultra Matte White spray paint, and it came out beautiful. At first I did want to do an ivory color, but once I put the white on there, it's unmistakably Christmas and it's beautiful. And I got down inside there just a little bit. You're never going to see down in there, but you might just a little bit. So at this point, I just put some different florals in there. This is actually some florals from some old plants that I had. And then the picks are some picks that I purchased off of Amazon last Christmas. They're pine picks. And then these little white and red berries are compliments of Miss Rita, one of my subscribers. She sent me a box of goodies, and it had a ton of these little berry picks in there, and I absolutely love these, especially at Christmas time. Come on. And I've got these red berries that have like pine cones on them. It's really just some extra picks that I had laying around the house, but they absolutely matched the ones that was in the Kirkland's picture, so I put them in there. I just fooled around with everything to try to figure out the arrangement that I wanted, and at first I put these darker red berries, almost a maroon color, but I changed those out in a minute. Now, you know I had to put my crafty Kathy touch on there, and I pulled up a picture of this truck off of Pixabay, and I'm using my Hippo water slide papers, which I love because you can make any image a decal. So what I did was I put it in the water for 60 seconds, then I wet my little surface there, and I just did the water slide where you pull the paper out from under it, and it's a perfect little decal of the truck. I liked the one from Kirkland's, but I felt that it was really plain because it was just a white picture with the berries and the pine in there, and I thought, I've got to put a little Kathy-ness into this, you know. So I took and just wiped off any excess water, and then I started changing the berries out. Remember I told you I didn't really like those maroon colored berries because they were too dark for me. They didn't match the truck, so I put some brighter red ones in. And I even added like a little cotton pick. Then I decided to take some twine and go around the bottom of this picture 2 times. And then I also went around the top of it 2 times because it just gave it that little extra something that Kathy projects have to have. I cannot have just plain projects. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the Kirkland's one, but like I said, I had to just Kathy it up a little bit, okay? So then I just burn off all the little fuzzies. And then I had a little wooden snowflake that came out of some little snowflakes and things, little ornaments that I had purchased off of Etsy. They're very small. They go great for different types of embellishments. It's just tiny. All I did was just glue this right underneath that twine, and it almost looked like it was hanging off of it like a beaded necklace. And here's my version. I really love these Hippo water slide decals since I found them because you can put that little red truck, which everybody seems to love, on anything. Molly, I know that you're loving this one, girl. Let's go into DIY number 3. This one was super easy. Christmas begins with Christ, and I couldn't agree more. So all I had was 3 pieces of like extra wood. Now, I had purchased a box of all these different pieces of wood. I think they kind of came from kids blocks or something. It's been years and I didn't know what to do with it. Well, guess what? I found something to do with it. So I used my crimson color by Waverly, and I just gave it one good coat, and that's the top block. And then I dried it and set it aside. I sand down the second block, which is going to be white, and I use my home decor white Adirondack, and I give it one good coat of that. And then I do the same, dry it, and set it to the side. Then for the bottom block, all I had was acrylic paint, so I used Apple Barrel's color called Christmas Green, and it took about 3 coats to actually get it covered. You just have to make sure that you dry it all the way between each coat. I purchased an SVG off of Etsy, and it was only 95 cents of this little nativity scene, and I printed it out on my Cricut, and we're going to place that on the very top block, just like in the picture of the Kirkland's version. It came off so pretty and crisp. And then for the second block, we have red color, and it says Christmas, and it is the exact same writing that comes from the Kirkland's version. This one is from the font called Magnolia Sky. Then the last part says begins with Christ, and it is also from Magnolia Sky. Look how beautiful and crisp when it all comes off. Oh, it's so pretty. And this was such an easy project, y'all, for it to be Kirkland's. So I stacked everything up the way that I wanted it. And we're simply just going to glue the blocks together. Then I just sanded off a couple little rough spots that needed to be sanded. Of course, I wanted to do a little Kathy touch to it, and I found these picks at Walmart for just 98 cents. They already have out their Christmas stuff at my local Walmart. And if you'll look, that little reindeer and snow that just disappeared in the little box, those are the ornaments I was telling you about earlier. So I just took one little sprig of pine on each side and glued it down. And then I took some berries off of that sprig and cut just a couple little berries off of each one and glued those down. It also had a very small pine cone, which I ended up putting on the right-hand side on the top of those berries. And I like everything to have a snowy finish, so I took my paintbrush and a little bit of that white Adirondack and just kind of ran it over the pine cone and the pieces of pine to create a snowy look. And here's what we got. This is gorgeous, y'all. This one was probably, out of all of them, my favorite. Let's go into DIY number 4. It's going to be another sign that says, "The most wonderful time of the year." These are boards that actually it's wood that actually goes on the wall, and they were 48 inches long, so I cut them in half because the actual sign was a 14 by 24. Mine just so happens to be a 16 by 24. So what I did was cut 3 of those boards in half to make them 24 long. And I simply just cut off 3 smaller pieces of wood, which I've got here, and I'm just gluing that down to the back so that I can create a good, solid structure for this sign. And I have an electronic stapler that shoots little brad nails, so I stuck 2 nails at least in each one of those so that we can have a really good firm foundation to start with. My sign naturally came in this beautiful gray color, and the sign in the picture is more of a brownish color, but I didn't want to touch it. I love this gray color. So what I did was took just a little bit of the antique Waverly wax, and I went all around the perimeter, all around the sides, and just kind of ran it in the center part just ever so slightly to give it a rustic, roughed up look. Then on my Cricut, I used the Smart Vinyl, and I'm using my Cricut Explorer 3 that Cricut actually sent me. And the first part that I wanted to put down was the word wonderful, because it's the very center part of the sign, and we definitely want that to be the main part. The font that I used for the word wonderful was Elegant or Elegance. I think it was Elegant. And then the others, I used another typewriter. That was the version that I used. And then the word "it's the" is just that very first one that pops up called Cricut San, I think. It's just a basic, just small, thin letters. It says "it's the." And then the words "most" and "time of the year" are all from the font called Another Typewriter. You'll see it looks like a big fat typewriter wrote it out. I hope this Christmas music is getting you guys in the mood, because it's definitely getting me in the mood. I was telling you guys before, it's 80 degrees and we're still swimming, but when I listen to Christmas music, I can't help but get excited for the season and tap my toes and sing along. I know that everybody loves Kirkland's, but guys, I hope that you can see from this video how easy it is to recreate their stuff. You don't have to go and spend tons of money on these signs. You can make them yourself. Like this sign here, they're asking $69.99 for. I probably have, $6 in this whole sign. And the little red sign, they were asking $29.99 for it. I might have $3 in that one. the little wood sign that I made, the Christ Begins with Christmas, maybe $1 and $2 in the picture, because that's what I paid for the picture. If you want to count the florals, let's say $5. Okay, I mean, everything in this video has been super inexpensive and so easy to make. I really hope you guys are getting some good ideas and inspiration. So for me, I had to Kathy this up. I just could not leave it plain like the sign had. So I have this pick that comes from Walmart, and it had an apple on it, which I didn't like because it looked cheap. So I took that one off and put my own apple on that I got from Amazon. And I just stuck that pick on the side, and I added a couple extra pine cones to it. And anything that I talk about that I say I got from Amazon, it's in my Amazon store in case y'all are interested. All you have to do is go down in the description box and it's down there. So I kind of fooled around with the placement of things and added, like I said, here's the little apple that I added because it looks prettier. The other one was just so fakey looking. And I added one more pine cone to this one. Then after that, I just put a little bit of that white Adirondack paint on my little chippy brush and just kind of ran it through all the bristles of that pine pick and over the apple, over the berries, and then over different parts of the sign because, like I said, I like it to have that snowy effect. And this one is complete, guys. Wow, we are headed into DIY number 5. And this is going to be our very last one. This one's super, super easy. This one is an ornament. I saw these little pictures on Pinterest that showed different ways that you can make the ornaments. And all it was is a piece of wood. It's just a very small little piece of wood. It's like 8 inches long by 1 inch. Now, I had this little ornament that I had purchased at the thrift store for 50 cents. It already said Santa on it, but we didn't want that. And I painted it with 2 coats of my Waverly Red Crimson paint. Each ornament had different words, and I picked the word believe, and I used the font called Candle Mustard. I think it's really pretty. It has that swoosh at the front of the B, and it's so pretty. And I printed that out on my Cricut, and we're just going to place this right down in the center of that red block. Then I just took some of my jute twine that I got from Dollar Tree, and all you have to do is wrap it around the end 2 times, and then I glued it. Then I pulled enough over so that it would have a spot to hang and wrapped it on the other side 2 times and glued it down. And that's it to this ornament, guys. This was super easy, super simple, and I'm not kidding you. It took me probably less than 5 minutes. Now, you could make a ton of these with just small pieces of wood, and you could fill your whole tree within 30 minutes. They had all kinds of Christmassy words. Then I just glued a little wooden Santa hat that I got off of Amazon. I don't have any footage of the Squawk Squad this week, guys, but I do have something that I hope you'll like.
Hi, y'all, I'm Pamela Pupkin, and you're about to do Pamela Pupkin's Halloween workout. Woo! This is Alan. All right, come on. Shake off the Skittles, shake off the Reese's, shake off those candy corns. Now ride the witch's broom, ride the witch's broom, ride the witch's broom, ride the witch's broom. Squash Satan, kick him in the crotch. Squash Satan, kick him in the crotch. Squash Satan, kick him in the crotch. Kick that Satan in the crotch. Zombies to the left, zombies to the right, zombies to the left, zombies to the right.
Who needs bloopers when you ain't got a lick of sense? Hey, don't forget to go see Emily over at Farm Charm Chuc. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Love y'all.